Over the years, there have been some incredible professional triathletes, some of which you would have said were capable of winning the Ironman World Champs, but sadly never succeeded despite their impressive record of results.
And well, with Ironman World Championships in Kona just around the corner, we thought that we'd take a look at some of those athletes who just never managed to make the top step.
Well, let's start with a current athlete and an athlete that's also going to be racing this year, and that is RONNIE SCHILDKNECHT. Now, he is more or less Mr. Ironman Switzerland because he has won that race an outstanding 9 times. And he's someone that I've always thought was capable of winning at the Ironman World Champs, but to date hasn't really succeeded in that. However, he did place 4th in 2008, but I've got to say he's always sort of struggled to match that of his other performances.
Yeah, like becoming Swiss national duathlon champion 6 times. He's also, almost more notably, been the first person to break the sub-8 barrier on US soil, which was Ironman Florida in 2011, and that's quite a statistic when you think about how many people have raced in the US over the years. And in total, he's won 11 Ironmans.
Yeah, very impressive. And he has actually suggested that the reason he struggles so much in Hawaii is simply due to the heat.
Which an awful lot of people comment on themselves.
Yeah, it is. The heat is a massive barrier for a lot of people, and just goes to show how Kona is such a totally unique beast.
And one athlete who knows all too well about the Kona heat is MARINO VANHOENACKER from Belgium. I remember watching Kona 2012, and he had really established a big lead leading on to the run, held that close to the energy lab, but then the wheels fell off and we saw some really iconic images of him slumped on the back of a truck, cradling 2 litres of Coke, and he ended up in an ambulance, and that was his day done.
Yeah, it's a really tough day. I thought he had the win in the bag, and he is an absolute machine. He has 17 Ironman titles to date.
It's amazing.
And actually an Ironman, a full distance Ironman title on every single continent. Yeah. And that's not even including his Ironman 70.3 titles.
And you know, despite all this, he did claim a 3rd in Kona back in 2010. But numerous attempts since that obviously didn't go well, like we just talked about. And despite getting his slot for Kona over the last 2 years, he's just declined it. So it would look like we're probably not going to see MARINO back there.
Well, this next athlete is one of the legendary Uber bikers of recent Ironman history, Chris LIETO. And he was certainly well known for his ability to ride a bike and ride a bike fast.
Yeah.
We rarely saw him enter T2 in anything other than pole position, and quite often with a sizable lead. And he had the ability to do this over non-drafting Olympics, 70.3, and of course, full distance Ironman.
Absolutely, and indeed, Chris had a real ability to cope with the crosswinds that Kona's famed for, and he, very rarely hit T2 in Kona in anything but the lead. Started the run in that famed Alihi drive, leading the marathons. Indeed, 2011, he had ridden so fast that he just about broke Norman Stadler's then bike course record. He held his lead on the marathon really far into the race, and only eventual winner, Craig Alexander, was able to come past him. So that 2nd place was Chris's best chance at the victory. And another athlete with incredible consistency pedigree is Cameron Brown. He has won Ironman New Zealand, wait for it, 12 times between 2002 through to 2016, which is just really quite an incredible streak of consistency. He's been European Ironman champion, countless other 70.3 and Ironman events that he's won. And he's also been on the podium in Kona.
But has never actually taken the tape like many others. The best he's managed to succeed with is 2 second place finishes in 2001 and 2005, and then 2 third place finishes. And guess what? At 46 years old, he is still racing, and he's actually going to be racing the Ironman World Championships this year.
Next athlete we're going to talk about is ANDREAS, who's had a fantastic career spanning 2 decades, which started with a stellar ITU career and representing Germany at the Sydney and Athens Olympics. By 2008, he didn't make the Beijing team, but that persuaded him to start racing long course racing. And in that year, he came 2nd at the Clearwater World 70.3s.
Yeah, and it set him up for a very successful career in long distance racing, where he seamlessly stepped up to the full Ironman distance and not only an incredible year, he also had an incredible debut at Kona where he placed third.
And there's very, very few athletes who have been on Kona podium in their debut event there.
Yeah, I struggle to think of many more. And then the next few years, he went back and managed to end up on the podium again. He had a second place finish and 2 more third place finishes.
And probably the most notable of those was his 2010 epic battle with Chris McCormack.
Which I'm sure you remember very well.
I do, because I was in the race that day, but quite a bit behind these two guys, I'm afraid. But that was just a really iconic moment in the race.
Well, it was. I remember watching the video footage, the photos, that iconic handshake, sort of out of respect, because they'd had this battle shoulder to shoulder throughout the race, which has been likened to the Iron War.
With Dave Scott and Mark Allen back in the day. But that was the decisive moment in the race. Really, Macca very soon after Serge took the win. And although Andreas came back in later years, most recently 2015, he had another second place, which is amazing consistency, not that elusive win.
Well, now let's move on to the women's. And if you have been following the sport of triathlon for some time now, then you'll probably recognize the name, Fernanda Keller.
She was the first Brazilian to race in Kona as a professional, and actually over the years amassed a quite staggering 23 times of taking part on the Big Island, during which she actually made 14 top 10 finishes.
Which is amazing, but she has only ever achieved, well, highest place, third, and she's managed that 6 times.
Pretty impressive stats.
Yeah, and that is all within the era of Paula Newby-Fraser and
Sure.
even Natasha Badman.
Next athlete we're going to talk about is triathlon's very own Xena Warrior Princess. Well, that's her nickname, at least. And we're, of course, talking about Caroline Steffen. 2010, 2012, she was ITU long distance world champion, and in those same years was also second place in Kona. And in that latter edition, 2012, she was leading the race for a long time. It was actually Leanda Cave passing her deep in the marathon that essentially stopped her from winning that race. That was certainly her closest chance to getting the title, and to date we've not seen her.
And it was very close, because I believe it was just the last 2 or 3 miles that Leanda passed her. And she actually has a really interesting story to that date, because she started out, well, just 2 Olympic distance triathlons, and then went and rocked up to Ironman Switzerland and placed second in her age group.
Wow.
But before actually stepping up to professional triathlon, she was actually invited to compete for the Rally Life Force professional cycling team. So she tried her hand at cycling for a little bit, alongside the likes of Nicole Cook and another triathlon star, Karen Turek. But it just didn't really fulfill that satisfaction for her. So in 2008, she stepped away from professional cycling and tried her luck at professional triathlon. And well, the rest is history.
And more laterally, we haven't seen Caroline racing that much because she stepped away from the scene to, well, the birth of her first child. She has now resumed racing this season, but not at Ironman distance yet. So hopefully we'll see her in Kona again soon.
Right, well now let's talk about Rachel Joyce. Now she actually started out as an age grouper in 2006, focusing on middle distance, 70.3 distance. And it was Ironman 70.3 Monaco where she placed first in her age group and first overall. And then went to the Ironman 70.3 World Champs where she also placed first in her age group and first overall. And that really gave her the confidence then to step up to racing professionally and actually leaving her job in London where she was currently a lawyer.
And Rachel's rise to the professional ranks was started with a series of top 10s in Kona in her early years of racing. 2011, she won the ITU World Long Distance Championships, and really her position as a world-leading female athlete was cemented by her win at Challenge Roth, a huge event. This set her up for an extremely consistent period of racing on the Big Island. Between 2013 and 15, she had 2 seconds and a third place. And let's not forget, Rachel is just one of many British women who have been super successful on the Big Island, including Chrissy Wellington, Leanda Cave, Julie Dibbins, Liz Blatchford, and of course currently Lucy Charles.
Right, our final athlete on the list packs quite a punch. It is YVONNE van Vlerken, and in just over a month's time, she will be turning 40 years old and she's still racing. She actually posted a sub 9-hour time in her debut Ironman back in 2007 at Challenge Roth, and then in 2008 she returned to take the overall title and also posting a record-breaking time, which she beat Paula Newby-Fraser's 14-year-old record in a time of 8 hours and 45 minutes.
And actually, she is the only athlete to simultaneously hold both the half Ironman world record and the full Ironman distance records, which when you think about it, is really quite a stat. She's been second at Ironman World Championships. She's got an incredible result of races over her career, but crucially, she's never taken the top step in Kona.
Well, of course, we have actually missed a couple of very big contenders.
No, I'm pretty sure we got them all, Mark.
Well, you know, Fraser can't be on Mark Threlfall.
You're going to have to do an Ironman, Mark.
Well, very true, very true. But in all seriousness, that is a very incredible list of athletes there. And, well, I think we've picked out some very good ones there, but obviously there are so many more to choose from. So if you have any suggestions, please drop them in the comments section below. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more videos from GTN, you can just click on the globe and subscribe.
Such as our 8 triathletes to watch for 2018 video. Have a look at that here.
Yeah, and if you'd like to see our Ironman World Championship course preview video that Heather recorded out in Kona last year, you can watch that by clicking just here.